So, good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Talent Finders would like to welcome author and founder of Born for More, Kathryne Mejias. So, specializing in helping women feeling empowered after divorce, as well as events host. So, welcome, Kathryne. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me on your show.
So, Kathryne, I'd like to congratulate you on all your achievements. So, can you share with us more about how your entrepreneurial journey started, and what led you to where you are today?
Well, it's quite an evolution and a bit of a story that I'll try to condense as best as I can. Growing up, I was always into everything to do with the unseen. So I was always drawn to the metaphysical, the meaning of dreams, all of that stuff. So that was really my passion. And I loved learning about those topics. So throughout my life, I took a lot of different courses from all over the world regarding, energy healing, shamanism, crystal therapy, you name it. I have taken that course. And what allowed me to do that was working for the airlines. So, working for the airlines, I had the ability to travel on my free time and learn from some of the best teachers. And during that time, I also had the opportunity to take some time off from working as a flight attendant and work in my other passion, which is fashion. So I had the
Amazing.
opportunity, yeah, to work with a well-known Canadian brand, and I styled and dressed all kinds of women from all walks of life. And I really noticed that, no matter what they wore, no matter how much money they had, there was like a lack of confidence and a lack of seeing their own inner beauty. And so
Yes.
I really wanted to focus on helping them feel more confident, helping them shine from within. And I always thought that my life, like I was born for something more as well. But
Yes.
somehow there was the more was missing sometimes, right?
Yes.
So, and the more was missing in other people's lives as well, whether that be an actual physical thing or an emotional state of being. And so that was really when I thought, wow, we all think we're born for more,
Mm.
and we need to tap into our potential. So that was kind of the seed of the Born for More brand and where that name came from. And during that time, I also got married. I had a little boy named Luca. And throughout my own evolution and I guess inner realization, I realized that my marriage was no longer, I guess, aligned. We
Yes.
weren't working together in the best way possible. So I decided to do something really drastic and separate. And through that, even knowing the effects of that, the leaving the marriage and the domino effect that it would have on my life, because I had built a life with my ex-husband, I
Yeah.
still decided that I wanted to have that more and to experience and not to settle for anything less than my heart desired.
Yeah.
And today we're friends and we co-parent, and and then I decided to help women feel better from the inside out when they are in the midst of divorce and separation, because no matter how good your relationship is with your ex, it's still an emotional turmoil, right? Because you have to reinvent who you are as a woman.
Yeah.
You have to get to know yourself again. And I really wanted to help women, help them heal, because I
Mm.
know the impact it has on someone's life. And that's why I decided to create more of a community called the Born for More community, where
Amazing.
people
Yeah, I
can
love
come.
it. I think it's such a great name. So, on that point, can you share with us more about what your company does? And you've highlighted a few points. But what was the inspiration and motivation for starting your business?
So starting the Born for More community was because I saw that there was a need. When I got divorced and separated, I felt very lonely, and I felt like there was nothing else out there that really helped empower women to step away from feeling like a victim and
Yes.
really use their whole experience to help them empower themselves and to make changes, right? And not to settle for anything less than they really desired. And a lot of women go back to their marriage because they feel lonely, they're impacted financially. And so I really wanted to create a community where there are different parts that will help a woman feel beautiful on the inside out, but also give her knowledge and tools and align her with the right businesses that can help her pursue her desires when she steps out of a marriage.
Yeah, so I want to actually ask you on that point because, like you mentioned, some women go back to the marriages or maybe vice versa. I don't know, from a male perspective, but um, I'm curious to know just from that side of things, is like when things aren't going well and you know, whether it's financial, because some people say, well, people break up because it's financial or whatever. But I also think maybe people, and I'm just saying this from my perspective, and maybe you can elaborate on it, but I think people just grow apart. So I'm just curious from your perspective, do you think that in the times that we live in now, because some people think, well, if they get married, it's forever and whatever, but then, maybe it's not, maybe it's just meant for a period of time. I mean, I know everyone's circumstances are different, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are around that.
Well, my thoughts are that as humans, we are evolving, and what was, in the 1960s is very different from what life is now.
Yes.
I also believe that throughout our generation and the way we were parented, we hold a lot of thought patterns and traumas.
Yes.
And sometimes when we are drawn to our partner, it's from a state of lack or a pattern or a need or a trauma, and we attract these certain patterns in these certain partners that
Mm.
validate that feeling or that vibration within us. And
Yeah, true.
so sometimes you exit a relationship and then you meet another person that may look different, but they treat you or you feel, in the relationship the exact same way,
Mm-mm.
right? So
Yeah.
sometimes people are brought together to either heal that pattern or, or to work through it, or sometimes they just stay in that relationship without ever knowing what drew them together, but they're just unhappy. So I
Mm.
would invite that person to self examine, right? Bring it back to the self. I always say that every single relationship you attract is
Mm.
a representation of who you are, whether
Yeah.
that person is quote unquote a good person or not. It's all about you, because I like to say that we are all the main characters of our movie. And if we want to change the movie, we got to change the script, and the script is encoded in our DNA, in our vibration within us.
Absolutely. So divorce is such a difficult process, as many will say it is like death. So can you share with us why you decided to focus on such a hard topic and experience?
Divorce is such a heavy topic, and it's happening more and more. And no one really wants to talk about it in an empowered way. And I wanted to shift that perspective and use it to enable us to grow
Yeah.
and learn more about ourselves so we don't repeat the same cycles again, and we actually break those, and we live the lives that we're meant to, not the
Yes.
ones that maybe we're forced to.
Absolutely. So when you made the decision to write the book, was this something that you decide based upon your own experience, or was this influenced by a common thread of women with whom had you'd had conversations with that resonated with you. And can you share with us more about that and what made you decide to become an author?
So the Soulful Divorcee book is really, it was never intended to be a book, to be quite honest.
Okay.
I'm a writer. I find it very easy to just get up and write about my feelings, about what I'm experiencing.
So
And
it's an
throughout,
organic process for you.
exactly, it's like a free flow. It's my meditation. And I just started writing, and then I started to write because I do write poetry. So I had a few poems in there. Then I explored the world of dating after divorce, which was very exciting. So I have so I have a few
I'm sure that must have
stories
been
in.
interesting.
It was because imagine you're married for so long and then you get out into the dating world and it's like, whoa, like what is going on here? So it's all these feelings like that I felt, as a teenager or before I was married. So it's exciting. So I put that in the book because that was my own experience. So the book is really a journey about my own experience, but
Yeah.
also I added some fiction in there just for fun.
Yeah. No, that's
So,
amazing. So, as an entrepreneur, sorry, as an entrepreneur and founder of Born for More, what would you say have been some of your biggest lessons in your career? And maybe you've had multiple, but is there one particular one that stands out for you?
sorry, the could you repeat that question?
Sure.
It cut.
So as an entrepreneur and founder of Born for More, what would you say have been your biggest lessons within your career? So you probably had multiple lessons or multiple experiences, but what really stands out for you?
The one thing that stands out is to never give up and always keep on going no matter what, because life happens, divorce happens, all kinds of things happen. But
Yeah.
as long as you keep on moving forward, and even when you do feel stuck, because it happens, right? We hit a roadblock, we feel stuck. Even the tiniest little actions to help you move forward
Mm.
will, in the grand plan, make a huge difference. So that's the one lesson that I have learned. Just keep on moving and keep on having that belief in yourself.
Absolutely. So, Kathryne, a big part of your focus is obviously to empower women and guide them from feeling stuck and potentially lost to embracing their full potential, which you've obviously mentioned earlier. But can you please share with the audience what are some of the tools or skills that you use to help other women who have gone through this? So, like, what are the practical things? Just some examples. I mean, obviously each individual is different, but if you've got any examples or
Well, since we're focusing on divorce, that's my main focus. When you
yes,
are going through a divorce, it is very, very emotional.
yes,
And sometimes as women, we feel lost and we just feel very overwhelmed because we're thinking maybe of the future, we're grieving the past, and we're just all over the map.
yeah,
And the most important thing one can do is bring themselves back to the present moment. I know it sounds so easy, but in those times, it's really, really challenging, right? To calm the
yes,
mind down, to just be centered. So, one thing that can help is just by focusing on the five senses, really paying attention to what you're smelling, what you're hearing, what you're seeing, where you're standing. And that creates like a GPS in your reality, in your world, and automatically that will bring you more into the time and space. And when you're in the present moment, that's where you can make aligned actions, right, that are not out of fear or whatever other emotions. So that's
yeah,
what I would
absolutely.
recommend.
So you're also an advocate for mental health, which obviously does play into this, which is something that is really relevant and important. So can you share with us more about this and why this is also so important to you?
Well, it's so important to me because I know the struggles, right? When you're dealing with all kinds of stuff and your world feels like it's falling apart. you need to be strong as a person, as a human, and that is regarding mental health. Like your mental health is priority, right? Because if
Yes.
your mental health is down, you're going to make terrible decisions, you're going to feel bad, you're going to make bad food choices, right? So it's like one of the key components to helping yourself feel better.
Yes.
And for myself, fitness is a big one for me. It's my one of my meditations because it really helps me stay in the present moment when you're lifting the weights. So any kind of movement for myself, it really helps. But mental health is, I feel so strongly about it because I know how it feels, to be low and just not even wanting to be here. And then it's like you need to pick yourself up, right? I know how it feels. And I also know the flip side of the coin and how it feels to feel good. So if I can help women uh, feel better about themselves and, give them tricks and tools to help empower them to move forward. Because, these moments are exactly that, just moments in
Yes.
time. And it doesn't mean your whole life story, right? So just
Exactly. And
one
also, you
step.
don't want to keep going with that narrative in your head, like you say. You want to be able to just move forward, like heal, let it go, and move forward. So,
Exactly.
yeah. So, having gone through your own divorce experience and healing process, how did this help you in supporting other women through their divorce journey slash experience? And can you share with us any examples? So
Well,
whether
I'm
it's
a
your
big believer.
own, whether it's someone else's, maybe you could just speak from your own experience.
Sure. I'm a big believer in walking the talk. And just like I would never go to, I always give this example, a personal trainer who's out of shape, right? Because if you're
Yes.
going to talk about fitness, you need to be in shape. You need to own what you're talking about.
Yes.
And so since I understand the steps and the process of going through separation and divorce. I know what it feels like, and because I have gone through it, I can help women focus on what is really important, which is finding their inner strength
Mm.
and raising their, I like to say, their happy factor,
Yes.
and change their lives into a life that actually excites them and stop putting themselves on hold and just going for it. Whatever they have that vision within them, maybe they had a vision within them during their marriage and they never had the ability or the opportunity to move forward on that. And now they do. How can we shift the, oh, poor me narrative to, I'm going to be a kick ass woman and go after what I want and
Yeah.
just make it happen for myself, right? So, yeah.
So obviously you've mentioned the book, but having been an author, for some obviously it's an organic process and for others not. So obviously you mentioned that it's very natural for you to write. So can you share with the audience what your writing experience was like, and do you plan on writing any other books going forward?
So the Soulful Divorcee is planned to be launched in 2025 this year.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I did write another book, which was called Soulful Beauty. That one, I believe it or not, that one I wrote in 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
It just, yeah. I woke up one day and my inner guidance said, okay, you're going to write a book. And I'm like, all right. And I have no idea how to write a book. I have never done this before. I've written several programs and different things, but a book is like a whole different ball game.
Yes.
And I just started writing. There a lot of people say you have to be structured in the way that you do things and you have to do this and that. And I don't like to follow those kind of rules
No.
because I'm a very unstructured person. So for me, I just go dive into it, let my heart, write what it needs to. And I had put it aside because, again, I never wrote a book. I didn't know what to do with it. And a few months later, all my friends are like, you got to get that book out. I'm like, really? I don't know. So then one friend
Amazing.
connected me, yeah, with another friend and who edited it. She was an editor, and then she connected me with someone else, a graphic designer, and then it all came together kind of perfectly. So that
Yes.
was the first book. Yes. And then the second book, as I mentioned previously, it was organic. It was kind of my journaling turned, into a story on its own. But the thing is, Karen, after the first book, I said, I'm never doing this again. This is so hard because
Yeah.
the writing is easy, right?
Yes.
It's free flow.
Yeah.
The editing, yeah,
Oh, the
now
editing,
that
yeah, that's very grueling.
that's grueling because you got to go over it again and again, and that's grueling. But I said never, and now here I am on my second one. So I wouldn't be surprised if next year I'm like, oh, I'm writing another one. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So, having worked with other divorced women, do you support those who have children, um, as divorcee, sorry, and can it also be very traumatic? Well, it can be very traumatic and painful for children. So, is this something that you address in your book or coaching? Because obviously it's not, especially if it's just two people, but if there's children involved, I don't know if you give any guidance based upon your own experience or whether you just solely focus on the women.
So being a mom, I understand the impact it has on children, but I also understand the impact it has on children being in a situation where there's a lot of arguing and, parents play such a dramatic role in growing up. Like those are your role models. And if you see your mom who's unhappy and who's not living her full potential, you are going to think that that is what you're supposed to be, and you are
Yes,
going to think that love, it means being unhappy and being hurtful to each other and all those things. So I believe that personally I'm being a good role model because I wasn't happy, I did something about it, and now I'm pursuing my dreams, right? I'm
yes.
doing what my heart is telling me to do. So that's how I feel about it. It's all about being a role model and showing our children that, we can change, and even if it's challenging, then we can still create something beautiful out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say um your biggest career highlight has been? And again, you might have had multiple, but is there anything that really stands out for you?
The biggest career highlight is mostly connecting with the most amazing women, whether that be clients or people like yourself that having this podcast, and just people that I'm surrounded by. I find that when you are in true alignment and living your passion, living your dreams, you attract people who are doing exactly that. So it makes it even more magical.
Yeah.
And I feel so to be surrounded by these amazing powerhouse women who are on their own mission and we all see each other, and we're all becoming such a powerful community. So it's really about the community and the people that now that I'm attracting and surrounded by.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kathryne, one of the expansions within your business is events. And I know you have a big event happening in 2025, which is really exciting. So, can you share with us more about that, and why hosting events is so important, not only to support women, but also covering mental health and so much more?
I love bringing people together.
Yeah.
I love it. I love creating communities and helping women rise. And this event will have 42 women-owned vendors that all help women feel better, whether that is on the inner beauty part, right? So everything to do with health, fitness, yoga, meditation, and then outer beauty, everything to do with fashion, makeup, med spas, all that stuff. And then also, I brought in to this event real estate financial advisors and everything that you would need, knowledge that you would need when you are going through a divorce. So all my events are created by, are brought together with women-owned businesses. And this event is so special to me because I know that there is nothing else like this out there.
Yeah,
There is no
absolutely.
community for yeah, there's no community that help women feel better and give them the knowledge and tools to help them feel better when they're going through a divorce. Um,
Yes.
a lot of women focus on either all the inner self, right? So they go all in on meditation, they forget the outer self, which is,
Yes.
hair, makeup, or they go the opposite. They only focus on their hair and makeup and whatever, and then they feel horrible inside. And I'm like, both aspects are so important to bring balance into your life. So that's where the inner and outer beauty part comes in. And I'm so excited to have Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, who is the Prime Minister's ex wife, who had to go through a divorce very publicly. And
Mm.
she is a mental health advocate and yoga teacher and meditation teacher. And therefore, I thought she would be such an alignment to come and talk about her journey of empowerment and having to redefine herself away from such a public figure, right? Because when we're
Yeah.
stepping away from a marriage, we have to ask ourselves, like, who are we? How do we like to be? Like, who do we want to hang out with? What do we want to do, like, with ourselves? And it's this whole identity shift that we have to do. And she is an example of that. She has recreated herself, stepping out of the role of his wife. And now she is Sophie, who is Sophie. And she's such a powerful woman. And I'm so excited to have her and at the event.
Amazing. So, Kathryne, part of being your or part of your coaching is not only to support in terms of the loss within divorce, but also to support women to get back out there and date again. And I know you touched on this briefly, but I'm sure that often for many women, they feel that it's over or they can never find love or relationship again. So can you share with us more about that and how you've helped and supported women to find that again, and if you can share any examples?
So, dating after divorce, a lot of people just jump back into it, which can be fun. I recommend just having fun and noticing what kind of people you're attracting, right? Because that's a key indication on if you have changed your state of being and your vibration, right? Because I believe energy attracts energy. And if you're feeling not well, not confident, then you're going to attract someone that kind of validates that feeling within you. So
Mm.
it's a great thing to notice. How are these people treating you? Who are you attracting, right? And just have fun with that by noticing all these little details and then shifting yourself, using that as, I guess, a learning tool to learn more about yourself and empower yourself, improve yourself, up level yourself so that when you are ready for a relationship, a committed one, then again, you're not repeating the cycle of the past one. I would also recommend not to jump into a relationship right away because usually there's the exciting time, yay, we're single again, although it can be scary. But then we're still carrying all this baggage that we haven't even healed. We haven't even, realized that we have. And that is something that may come up like 1 or 2 years later where you're like, whoa, I didn't even know that was still in there. And
Mm.
it's not about suppressing it, it's about allowing that to come out and really examining everything about yourself, all the triggers, maybe you're on a date and you're getting triggered by something by that the person is doing. Well, why are you getting triggered by it,
Yeah.
right? So it's always about bringing it back to yourself so you can learn more about yourself and improve you and be the best version of who you are.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah.
So, with that, what are the three key pieces of advice you would give to those who are looking to pursue a similar career or in general entrepreneurs?
Well, I'll tell you right now, you got to have serious belief in yourself
Yes.
because if you don't, then there's no point, right? Because there is always going to be someone, whether that's a stranger or family, that is not really going to understand what it is that you're doing or, put you down. And so if you don't have that belief in yourself that you are going to make it, then don't become an entrepreneur or don't
Yeah, no,
start your business, right?
it's definitely not for sissies, that's for sure.
Yeah. And another thing would be to surround yourself again with people who are on that mission, who see you, you see them, you empower each other, and you're just on this mission to, go for whatever it is that you want. Personally, my circle of friends is very, very small. And I like it that way. I don't feel like I need to expand. I just like to have a small circle of powerful people who are on that mission and that I could call for support if I need answers. They get it because they're kind of in the same boat. Another thing I always like to say is don't ask advice from people who have not done it, right? Because
Yeah, of course.
it doesn't make sense. Like,
No.
why would you?
It's like going to
I
a
used to
broke
do that.
financial advisor and asking them for financial advice. It's the same thing.
Exactly. And I have been guilty of doing that. And then I caught myself and I thought, why am I asking this person for advice when they are not doing the thing?
Yes.
So yeah, so surrounding yourself with positive people who are on that same mission, belief in the self, right? And knowing that it's never a straight line, there is always going to be bumps in the road. But that's why that belief in the self is so important. Just, keep on going no matter what.
Absolutely. So that leads me to the final question. What legacy would you like to leave, or how would you like to be remembered?
Ooh, that's a good question, Karen. Well, I think I would have to say the legacy of just being me, just being free, because throughout my life, I have always, I guess, felt like I had to be a certain way, and that really diminished my self-worth and myself, right? And I wasn't able to speak, I wasn't able to do the things that I really wanted because I had these ideas of what I should be.
Yeah.
And so my legacy, or what I want to show my son, one of the things, is to just be who you are
Yes.
and never have to dim your light and just, people are always going to have comments, they're always going to say things, right? But it doesn't matter as long as you are in your own truth and doing actions from your own truth, then that's all that matters. And that's what I want to be remembered by for.
Amazing. So if people would like to contact you or get in contact with you or interested in buying the book, what are the best platforms or communication avenues to connect with you?
So people can go visit my website. It's born-for-more.com or on Instagram, which is Kathryne Mejias.
Oh,
And
amazing. Thank you so much. And hopefully we can have you back in the future to see where you are in your journey. And thank you so much for joining us.
thank you so much.